Hey everybody, it's Dick here. I got a request to do a fleet update, and I thought what better excuse to do a fleet update than to show you the new fleet home, Dick's Garage. I'm pretty happy with my new digs, and most of the UK bikes are in the garage here, and I'll just give you a quick update of the bikes and what my plans are, and you guys can comment in the comments below of what your current fleet coincides with, and maybe we can do a bit of comparison. This is a recent addition. This is a 2017 Honda CRF L 250, and I got that for green laning and doing classic trials on. I went out with some Welsh green laners, and they said they'd bring me on some easy tracks, and the first time out I broke the brake lever and the clutch lever and the brake pedal and the clutch pedal. So easy Welsh riding is nothing like the easy lower country English riding and green laning I was doing. But that's my new 2017, or my new to me 2017 CRF 250L. I'm quite pleased with it. There's some pretty interesting mods. It's got a full stainless exhaust system. It's got a Hyperlink suspension. It's got some more progressive and longer travel suspension in the front forks. It's got an LED light, and I don't know, a lot of guards and crap all over it that just made it better money for value. So that's the CRF 250L. Behind that is Fanny's 2019 Indian Scout. Fanny just recently installed that Dart windshield just as the weather was turning, so we don't know how that has changed the riding. And she's put some backrests on. I think that was for me because my coccyx gets really quite abused when I ride this bike for more than 2 hours or so. And there's one for the passenger. The one for the passenger is pretty cool because it's quick release. So if you are not taking a passenger, you can take that off without too much of a faff. Fanny also has recently had, and I don't know if I can get in here, I can, has Jekyll and Hyde exhaust installed, which means that she can have that monster sound that she's enjoyed over time, but with the push of a button, she can have it quiet and sound like stock. So it's a pretty interesting setup. It's pretty pricey, but the guys down at More Speed Racing in Bournemouth had a used one, and I'm always up for a deal. That's the Whale, the blue whale, the great whale, the whale that I've beached a number of times on logs trying to take a adventure bike green laning. That's the 2001 Honda Transalp 650. It's a V-twin. I've had a Transalp before, and I loved it. I sold it reluctantly and then always wanted another one. I bought this one. There was a whole bunch of issues that I won't go into in this video. Needless to say, my $2,000 that I spent on it with an extra set of wheels was not the bargain I thought it was. It's currently in bits, and I'm doing a bit of a restoration to it to get it roadworthy and trailworthy for an event coming in April, which sees me riding about 1,000 miles in a day on this beater. So we'll keep you updated with that. Behind that is my other quote-unquote adventure bike. This is the Sport Tourer version of the BMW 800 engine GS. This is an F700 GS. The F700 GS is a little different than the 800 GS as it has cast wheels. Other than that, it's pretty box standard 800cc GS. This has all the adventure bells and whistles that you can think of. It's got Outback. What are my guards on there? I did a lot of research on the guards. So it has Outback MotorTech guards, bash plate. It's got Givi or Givi, whatever you want to say it for the Italians. Luggage on the back. I've got big steel boxes. I've got the hand guards. This is the Rally Edition, so it came with heated grips. It came with dynamic suspension, so you could change the suspension ride through 3 different modes. And I don't know, Brembo brakes. That is probably one of the most boring motorcycles I've ever ridden, but I will continue to own it and refuse to sell it. One, because it's Shakedown's bike when he comes to ride in the UK. And also, it's a very capable bike. So if I'm going to go on a tour for a long distance, couple thousand miles, I'll probably take the GS because even though it's boring, it'll do the job without any headache. Next in the fleet is my 1952 Swallow sidecar. Swallow is the company that was the precursor to Jaguar motor coaches, and I picked that up, or Fanny picked that up for me for Father's Day this year, and we put it on my Royal Enfield Classic 500 single, and on the first day I brought it to get MOT'd, and on the way back I crashed it into a hedge. I do have video footage of that for anyone who's interested. I will post that soon enough. This was the Father's Day gift for 2019. That's the 2018/19 Triumph Street Cup 900cc HT or high torque engine. It's got a high scrambler style Vance & Hines stainless exhaust. Vance & Hines was trying to avoid the fines that the EU put on top of who was it? Harley Davidson for selling aftermarket exhausts that flouted EU emission standards right out of the gate, and they sold off a whole bunch of exhaust systems on the cheap. Originally that was £1,000, and I picked that up for £250 even before I owned the Street Cup. And then when I got the Street Cup, I put that exhaust on. That exhaust was the worst modification I could have put on this bike. It's pretty ridiculous in terms of comfort. I was led to believe that the Street Cup, the Street Twin, and the Street Scrambler were all the same bike with different modifications to make different types of riding styles. It has dawned on me, or it's become apparent to me, that here, this bit here, is a frame rail that can be detached from the frame so that you can get into the engine without having to do a whole bunch of faffing around. And those frame rails are different on the Street Twin, the Street Cup, and the Street Scrambler, which means that I cannot mount a Street Scrambler foot peg now that I have a high exhaust, which means that this very low-profile aluminum machined beautiful thing cannot be extended, so I am stuck in one position and it's extremely uncomfortable. So I've picked up a Tech Bike Parts 2-to-1 exhaust that's going to put the exhaust back under here, and we'll see if I can get the same sort of performance and sound off of a more comfortable and sensible exhaust. Here is my BMW 310 GS. That's at first I thought the GS was a little bit of a exercise in developing nations branding exercises, and I've become a convert to the BMW 310 GS, so I've picked up one of those for the fleet there. Back there is my Cannondale BMX bike. Cannondale tried to get into BMXing for a small while, but their fork tubes would snap under jumps, and so it was only out for about 2 years, but that's a aluminum BMX bike made by Cannondale, very special edition. So that's, other than the Mutt, which is currently elsewhere, this is my current UK fleet. I am looking at... Stop bashing the BS. the BS. Stop bashing the GS, says Simon. Sorry, Simon. I gotta... You know me. I gotta give it... Gotta be honest. I gotta give it the beans. Anyway, I'm pretty pleased with the current fleet. After the long 1,000-mile ride I take in the spring on the Transalp, I don't know if the Transalp's going to survive 2022 without being moved on for something else. I don't know if the Swallow's going to go back on to the Royal Enfield, or if my Death Wish tendencies have I've outgrown them, and I just might make that into a nice bit of garage furniture. I always think the Triumph will be going one day or another, but every time I get on it for a ride, I think I'm going to keep it for a while. The GS, again, it's not my favorite bike, but it's something that will stick around. So whether I need to move that on to make room for another bike, I am interested in the FTR, the new FTR Rally. They've seemed to improve the fueling on that. I am interested in a lot of the Yamahas that are available. The Yamaha Tracer 7, the XSR 900, not the new 2022 ugly distorted XSR 900, but the original XSR 900. That could easily replace the Triumph, and that is a much better bike. The Tracer could easily replace the GS, and that's a much better bike in my eyes. Royal Enfield's not going anywhere. CRF, hopefully I'll get better at green laning. That's not going to go anywhere for a while. Fanny won't let me put the Indian anywhere for a while. But I have a couple of bikes for the Dream Fleet in my mind. And I've been thinking about doing a video of what the Dream Fleet would look like. But my current fleet, UK, this does not include the US bikes that survived the fire, but my current UK fleet is as stands. Feel free to give any comments of what you think my fleet needs, how it should change, whether I should keep something. I know Simon can give me a defense on the GS and why that shouldn't go. And I look forward to any comments. I hope everyone else is enjoying the autumn, and I hope you... Oh, there's my new antler chandelier in my fleet home. So if ever we come along, you guys can have some peach pie, ice cream, floats, milkshakes, and the such. Or we can get a game of table tennis while we're talking bikes. All right, signing off.